Earlier this summer, I learned of the existence of an immensely large block of stone in a remote forest that has such incredible symmetry it appears to be carved out of the earth. Nothing was known about it, except that it was composed of limestone. No one knew where it came from. Only 3 photographs existed on the internet that proved it wasn't a myth. I couldn't stop wondering, where did it come from? Did humans have any role in its creation? What else is out here? And if it truly was almost a perfect cube, as these pictures made it out to be. So I devised a strategy on how to figure it out. There was just one massive hole in my plans. I needed to find a way to get onto the top of it. In the weeks leading up to my departure, I couldn't shake the feeling that something was missing, and there might be someone else who knows about it. So I called up Andrew, aka Desert Drifter. It just so happened that he not only knew about it, but was planning on trying to climb up it the very same week. What we found here went far deeper than a strangely shaped rock. It is a mystery that extends beneath the earth and far back into history. But there was something I only noticed long after we left this place that revealed a crucially important detail that we somehow overlooked, even though it was right under our feet. One single drone shot changed my entire perspective on this object and has left me wondering ever since, how was this possible? So this is how we're going to get on top of this giant cube. We've got Desert Drifter and Evelyn here. Yeah, it's kind of crazy how serendipitously it all came about. We see the wild Desert Drifter. Many times, lonely wanderers have mistaken him for the Sasquatch. We are starting to see this layer of limestone. We got the whole convoy going on. Look at this fossil that we just found. It's an ammonite, I'm pretty sure. So we are currently listening. That is the corner of the cube. And at the top of the hill, we're hearing these elk. Andrew's gonna try to sneak up and get close to them.
See it just past that tree there? What the heck?
Look at this thing. Wow. This is massive. It's a huge chunk of limestone. Oh yeah, I see bolts right there.
Yeah, there's a bunch.
So one of the features of this rock that caught my eye are these eroded lines. And you can see a couple more up there.
Okay. The more colorful it is, the safer.
Totally. There's a pretty epic route up the corner. What would you rate this at?
It's hard to say. 5.8, 5.9 maybe?
Yeah.
It's hard to say till you're really on it. It's going?
Salt blink.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Let's do it. See you, Tui. This rock is a little crumbly. Here, ooh, heads up rock. Did you want to get the drone in?
Yeah, I'm thinking about busting out in 2 seconds. Alright.
Clipping. Woo! Wow. Look at this thing. Insane. It's quite impressive. These nuts need to be tightened. The bolts itself are a little bit sus. All right. Here's Nolan about to top out. Evelyn and Tui are hanging out down there.
Woohoo! Yeah! Let's go. Wow. That was fun. Thanks, Evelyn.
You're through 2 hard points, Evelyn?
This side of the cube and then the opposite side of the cube have a very rough, sort of unrefined look. When you get to the top here, it's pretty darn smooth. And this side right here, the overhanging ledge, pretty smooth as well. It has a bit more of a black varnish on it. We have brought a 100-foot tape measure to measure the top. Evelyn, start with this side. Careful on the edge, right? Mm-hmm. So if this cube turns out to have 4 equidistant sides, all right, 50 feet on the money.
Whoa!
Yeah.
50 feet exactly?
50 feet on the money. Look at that.
Wow. He's got a big tuna.
41 feet and 8 inches. So, not perfectly cubular. Bummer, I got excited there for a second.
So did I.
54 right there.
54.
45.5 feet. What do we conclude from this?
They were pretty close to making it a perfect square and then they got tired.
Ancient. Okay, so its dimensions are 50 feet by 42 feet by 54 feet by 45.5 feet. Flying the drone from the base to the top, I assessed that it's about 60 feet tall. This is when it becomes apparent that this object is not like a cube whatsoever. It is much closer to a rectangular leaning tower. The weight of dolomite limestone per cubic foot is about 170 pounds, which means this thing roughly weighs about 23 million pounds, 11,500 tons, or 10,433 kilograms, which is about the weight of a small cruise ship. But what I still didn't understand is how a 23 million pound block of stone came to exist in the middle of a forest.
0 degrees?
Yeah, perfect, yep. Angle measure. There's a lot of different angles on this cliff, but this one looks the nicest. Okay. 92.9 degrees. What does this mean?
Wait, try a little further, closer to me.
Science.
80. He dropped it down.
Oh, wow. We're way off.
How, once...
Holding on to it.
It's like the dumbest thing I've ever done. Okay, clearly I was starting to feel a bit silly for trying to use such a tiny angle measure on such a gargantuan object. Ultimately, I think it's pretty apparent that this is remarkably close to having 90-degree angles on many of the sides of it. For example, compare it to the right angle on your YouTube window. It is important to note that while exceedingly rare, it is possible for 90-degree angles to appear in nature. This is most clearly demonstrated by pyrite crystals. And strangest of all, wombat poop. Okay, definitely not a perfect cube, but still, how crazy is that? Yeah.
Yep.
That's cool.
See how you feel it on your harness now?
Yep.
So now you're cruiser now.
So if I wanted, do you want to feel like what that feels like?
A couple hours later, our mission is partially finished. All right, Nolan's gonna go into this cave here.
Some of the blocks I found, they have a layer underneath because they don't actually fall flush with the ground. So we're gonna see how far it goes. Oh man, yeah, I gotta go head first.
I think you have to.
No headlamp. It actually kind of opens up a lot. Get in there too far. Whoa. Whoa. What? It's kind of like a cave or something.
No way.
Yeah.
Chewy.
Yeah, well.
Don't do it, Tui. Don't do it.
Oh my. Whoa. There's a lot of bugs. A lot. All right. So that is the entrance. This is the first chamber. And right on top of us is the entire block. Look at that. Oh. Oh my God. Yeah, well, I'm not going in there. Hi, buddy. I'm coming back out. I could easily go down into this thing, but oh my. Okay. Oh my. Okay.
What?
Oh yeah.
What'd you see?
I don't know. But there's water down there, and I heard a splash of water, and then something moved.
Mountain lion?
No, I don't think so. It's probably like a big gopher or something. There were tons like rat and mice droppings.
It's almost like what you would see people's flooring made out of or something.
Limestone.
Dramatic.
Wow, look at this all.
Yeah, it's weird. Weird rock.
Looks like lizard scales. Cool rock. Chasm.
That's cool.
Yeah. It feels sketchy.
Yeah. There's barely anything supporting this giant block of earth from falling down.
There's
from
a
the rest.
fissure like that runs almost the entire way around it.
There's a very good chance it came from right here, and you can kind of see a path of debris leading right down to where it would have rolled. Using Google Earth from before this trip, I had spotted this gap in the cliffs and a path of destruction from above. Clearly, it had rolled down these cliffs in what must have been an incredibly catastrophic event before coming to rest at the bottom. I measured these cliffs to be around 60 feet tall, which also supported my belief that the block came from here. But I was surprised to see that the cliffs had clearly rounded, eroded edges and a far darker coloration. Nowhere on the block, even the underside, looked anything like this. The traditional geologic explanation for this type of erosional pattern is best described as the process of tensional fractures creating joint sets. Underneath this hillside lays hundreds more of these rectangular blocks. Now, imagine you were there to see this block come down. The energy expended of a 23 million pound block of limestone falling 100 feet is over 3.12 billion joules, equivalent to roughly 746,000 pounds of TNT. It probably blasted away a large amount of the trees nearby with limestone shrapnel and could have been heard for miles and miles in all directions. This is also when I realized something about the way that it came to rest at the bottom is so truly remarkable, it almost seems intentional. Directly due north is this way. So imagine that right corner of the cube is facing directly due north. When I said this, I didn't even realize how true it was. Every corner of this cube was pointing in every one of the 4 cardinal directions almost perfectly. And still, that revelation pales in comparison with what I realized about this structure long after we had all parted ways.
It does make you wonder.
So as we're standing here, just looking out over this vast expanse, this would be a pretty incredible place to drive wildlife through this valley. And these cliffs create a natural barrier. On these rocks, some of the most incredible looking moss we have ever seen.
It's like heads of broccoli down there.
There's a stacked cairn right here.
Potentially where the sun's gonna drop. You see how there's kind of this like shallow indentation here. One of the other tribes that frequented this area a lot are the Crow. The Crows in particular were known for making these fasting beds, they called them. So they would go on these vision quests and they would build these small enclosures, and then it was like just enough space for a man on a vision quest to lay down there and fast. And he would often stay there until he had, received whatever vision that he expected to receive. This is obviously a natural indentation. Is this cairn just somebody thought, hey, I'm gonna build it here, that looks cool? Or is this a prehistoric cairn and this was sort of commemorating, somebody's fasting bed here? I don't know. But that was something I thought of as well, in addition to the game driveline that you were talking about, Nolan.
No matter what time you live as a human being, you are going to look at something like this and be in complete awe of it. It kind of connects you with the human beings that may have been here for thousands of years.
Wow, this is a cool view of the block from here. It actually looks like broccoli almost.
Yeah, that's exactly what Andrew said. Wow. That's amazing. I need to find out what species that is.
That is a statue, a monolith. Dude, there's like an edge over here.
Oh my gosh.
This could definitely be like a camp spot. It makes me wonder, are there overhangs back there? And honestly, that one looks, I might have to walk over that.
Yeah. A human life is but a blink of an eye compared with the eons in which these rocks will remain standing. Imagine you are an ancient human being that has lived a long life, traversing across endless mountains and forests, believing you had seen everything. And then, one day, you walk into an open clearing and witness this sight before you. how would you react to seeing something so immense and strange looking? Would you tell your friends and family about what you had found and maybe set up camp here? Would you try to find a way onto the top of it to gain a strategic position? Or would you celebrate its beauty, its strangeness? Either way, it would leave an impression on your mind, the very same that I have felt, that would remain long after you resumed your wandering to never find it again.
So I was just keeping my eyes peeled. We're kind of down in the bottom of the valley, you know, next to, there's a little creek down here. And I saw this. It's actually just sitting on a rock, and it's all fractured and broken. But I mean, there's clearly a worked edge here. It's I mean, there's no doubt about it. You can see both sides, how it was sharpened. Now, whether it was some kind of projectile point or a knife, you know, it's way too broken up to tell. Here's the other side of it, but yeah, you know, the tip would have come up here, the base somewhere down there. But you know, it just goes to show this valley was undoubtedly inhabited, and you know, probably the nomadic tribes came in and out of it, came up here in the summertime and went down to lower elevations during the winter.
I actually brought my headlamp this time, so I don't have any excuses. As a reminder, I am mildly claustrophobic, I'd say. There's just chasms in the ground here. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, it just keeps going. Hey! Just trying to assess if there's anything living inside of here. This. Oh my god, it keeps going. I just heard that rock fall. So far. I think I hear water down there. So maybe it connects to a cave system. Yeah, I definitely hear water dripping. But it looks like it gets pretty narrow. So that's my excuse to turn around right here. Listen, you can hear the water. Yeah. Time to get out. This is a chert flake from when they would be creating an arrowhead. And I've seen these a couple different spots around here. Leave them where they lie. So really, I do feel it strongly points towards this clearing being or a place of habitation for humans. These rocks are amazing. Kind of look like oyster mushrooms. That is wild. I thought I had it figured out. The process of the block's violent fall to the earth was the proverbial hand that sculpted it. As it rolled down, its outer softer layers of limestone were crushed, fractured, and then flung into the air by the rotational energy of the rolling block. The amorphous larger block that started at the top lost its rounded outside layers during the violent tumble, and only the newer, smoother, whiter core of the block remained at the bottom of the cliff. Sort of like peeling an onion. Upon closer inspection, its surface is quite bumpy, which points against human design. It was only a month later, after having looked at these shots countless times sitting at my computer, did I find a shot that I hadn't looked at. I realized something, and my mind was blown. There was something off about the corner. We had been so fixated on the appearance of a square at the top of the block that we had missed the forest through the trees. The northeastern corner was missing, meaning at one point in the past, the block would have been far more symmetrical, like a perfect cube, but flat on one side. Almost outside of the realm of belief. It was almost as if the lowest and nearest to the ground corner had been cut away to create an easier way up. We had been literally standing on top of the perfect symmetry we had been searching for and not even known it. Andrew and I had been thinking about it all wrong. We had not been standing on the top of it. We had been standing on the side of it. So there are currently wildfires everywhere across the western United States. The sunsets, when they're passing through a layer of smoke, do turn out very beautiful. All right, good morning. We have returned. Just as impressive as I remember. The lighting has been a challenge when filming this. The sides are pretty dark, and the top of it is such a bright white color. So when I first saw this object online, I thought, I came up with this theory that perhaps what monoliths are a combination of natural and man-made. Perhaps nature did most of the work when it comes to sculpting and shaping the incredibly huge blocks. But then what if humans found those blocks and were so struck by the beauty and the symmetry that they decided to go the extra step and continue shaping and enhancing that symmetry smoothing over those bumps and creating what ultimately looks like a perfect geometrically shaped object. I don't think this is the case with this one. I think this is a random chance creation. Somehow this thing did not break into a million pieces when it fell off the cliff. Somehow it landed just so perfectly, and somehow through a bunch of luck, this thing came to exist. What do you think?